Just a very solid day of trading. Zero complaints on my side. These are the best types of days, in my opinion, where I'm able to get in a couple trades, make, you know, over $8,600, and yeah, just zero complaints. So we're gonna go ahead and recap today's trading from this morning's live stream. If you didn't know, the streams happen live every day, Monday through Friday at market open on my main channel, Trades by Matt. Let's dive into the recap. Yo, good morning. Happy Thursday, or whatever day it is. Alrighty. We had news dropping, I believe. Yep. Jobless claims dropped at 7:30, 231, expected 212. Tomorrow we get Michigan sentiment. Hopefully we get some continued good moves. So far we are totally flat on the day. We're opening up right at yesterday's close in 1 minute. Opening up inside yesterday's value area. That typically means chop unless we pop out of value, which we're close to value area high, so that's good. If we're gonna continue this like 5-minute uptrend, we'll see. If we break below yesterday's point of control in the 80s, obviously we're watching for like the 60s retest as well as VWAP for the swing high and VWAP. Could be an interesting spot to buy. 50 being yesterday's value area low, also being interesting. But I'll be waiting the first 15 minutes just to kind of see if we're actually going to be chopping or not. If we can get out of it, like either value area high or below 75. If we're stuck in between 75 and value area high, that's going to suck. So we'll see what happens. What was your approach to get out of the trailing threshold after you passed the evaluation? Same thing that it is right now. Just base hits. 400 bucks a day. Keep grinding. 300 to 500, really, truly. But yeah, just keep grinding. Be very patient. Take very good trades that I want to take. Have base hits. Don't look for too much. One trade at a time. All the things, right? Everything that we're doing right now is the same thing that you do when you're trying to get out of the drawdown period. Same thing that you're supposed to do when you're trying to get through the evaluation. It's all, you shouldn't really be changing anything, right? Like your whole concept should be, your whole trading strategy should be the strategy that you're using when you're funded, should be the strategy that you're using while you're in your evaluation, should be the strategy that you're using while you're trying to get out of the trailing drawdown period. All right, trading the 80s, yesterday's point of control. We slapped this, we probably go down into 65, I would think. Another 10 points, seems doable. Into VWAP and the swing high here. All right, dad joke, are you ready? May 9th, Thursday. Dad joke of the day. What do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear. That's a classic. Good for the kids. I'm gonna tell that one to Scarlett later. She's really been into bears and tigers lately. And her multivitamin is like a gummy bear. So, morning TBM, what's your account sitting at the moment? Well, no trades today, obviously. I'm sitting at 61,300. I made a little over 400 bucks yesterday, I believe. I don't remember the exact total. 225,981 in profit across the board of all these 20 accounts. Obviously, I've taken out 200 grand. So I'm actually approaching the, I'm very close to the $500,000 mark on all these accounts. That's kind of badass, honestly. Like maybe tomorrow or Monday. Tomorrow or Monday, maybe. $500,000 in profit with 200,000 taken out. I think I'll just take it all out. Yeah, I'm not planning on taking it all out. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I think I might have a few months. Like, I feel like the very first month that I can have a bigger one, I'm going to, just slightly. Like maybe take out 50K both times to where it's like a 100K month instead of an 80K month. But I'm not planning on like evaporating the account yet at all. I'm loving it way too much for that. And I also love the concept of like taking out like a fat withdrawal. I love the idea of doing like a 500 or $1 million one. That sounds just so sick. If I can ever get up there. Obviously I'm way forward guiding myself right now, but that's kind of the plan. And the payout split on Apex doesn't start until 25K withdrawn per account, which is $500,000 total. So like I'm still getting 100% of all of my withdrawals. At $500,000 withdrawn is when my profit split will start. And then yeah, it's 10% of the request, which it's like the monthly PA fees. It's just the cost of doing business at this point. Also, Had a few people complain about my language in the last video from yesterday's stream. I do apologize. I was passionate and fired up. When I'm passionate and fired up, I do let some things slip. Overall, my goal is to make the stream allowable to play on your family TV. So that is on me, and I apologize. I'll own that one. A funny thing that I learned at Amazon had or when I worked there, at least back in the day, they always said that choice words make you listen. So the environment there was very explicitive. Anyways, yeah. So I'm not even gonna say blobs are getting mad. I personally prefer to not have that in the stream. So that is on me, and I do apologize. If I triggered you from what I physically said, apart from the language, then that's on you. I'm not gonna apologize for offending you, but I do apologize for the language. So, but like that being said, and I don't want to just like put this dude on blast, but like some dude tagged me in Discord late last night, and like had like an epiphany from watching all of that. If you're watching, dude, GG's. But he had like a huge epiphany. So it was like, I mean, that whole rant, totally worth it for one person, in my opinion. Nice dumps. I'm almost green-lighted to trade. About 1 more minute. Good movement so far. What does green-lighted to trade mean? It just means I'm good to go. I wait 15 minutes, and that 15 minutes is over. We got point of control down here at the magical 20s. We got Delta kind of going a little bit sideways. I would not be shocked to see us pop a little bit, but really want to kind of wait for something a little better. Why weren't you able to trade until now? Just personal rules. I like to let the market kind of wiggle out a little bit. You ever tried using blue light glasses? I haven't. I got those built in with my LASIK, so I don't need the glasses. When I got LASIK, I just had them install the blue light in there. With the factory upgrades. Nah, I'm just trolling. You can't do that. That would be insane, man. It's like Neuralink in your eyeballs. It's not real. I did not get blue light lenses installed in my eyeball when I got LASIK. Solid troll got me. Let's go. I've used that one before. I didn't know if it was going to land this time, but thankfully it landed. Because I've definitely used the blue light LASIK joke before. Okay, little push. Right into the overnight lows, huh? We couldn't get to 100? That's what I was waiting for, is 100. Like, why 08? Why a 20-point slap off of that? Back to the top of the range. Good to buyers, but... I want to know how many people Googled blue light LASIK. Damn, maybe I should be getting LASIK. Bro's not talking about trading at all. Nah, I'm not. What do you want me to say? Here you go. Here's me talking about trading. I am not in a trade. We are in a move that is 30 points straight up. There's no reason for me to get into this. There is no reason for me to buy it at the lows. And I missed the whole dump because I wait the first 15 minutes. There you go. That's me talking about trading. But imagine we go back up to 50, value area low, VWAP, middle of the range. There you go. There's your 30 seconds of market talk with Matt. I mean, that was a solid candle, right? So we'll see what happens at VWAP, middle of the range, yesterday's value area low. But I personally am a little bit inclined to think that we go clean it up, but maybe we don't. It's very possible that we don't, right? That's why you just play what's in front of you. If we have a boatload, a metric ton of buyers at 50 and VWAP, like, I'm not going to step in front of that. If we have a crazy divergence at 50, it's an area that makes sense to me to roll over. So like, I will step in front of it. But that's the beauty of trading, is it's decision based, right? I've been getting a lot of messages about like, when did you know to quit your job? How much money were you making before you quit your job? Everybody's very different. We all live in different places. We all have different lifestyles. We all have different requirements from family perspective. There is no dollar amount that I could ever tell you where you're like looking for some sort of like, you're looking for like me to like give you the thumbs up, right? Of like, hey, you're making this much money, you can do it now. No, that's never going to be the case. People have different debt levels. People have different dependent levels, right? Different amounts of kids, wife, maybe you're single, maybe you're 25, maybe you're 40. There's a million different like variables in play here. For me, I never really truly was feeling comfortable with quitting my job. I talked about this on the Wisdom podcast. I talked about it on my video. My wife is the one that was like, you are working too much. you are making too much money from trading, you are working too much in order to try and do both. Why don't you focus on trading and then do your own things at the same time? Because you're making more with trading than you are at your normal job. The normal job is really just offering you a level of security, but like, suck it up. You're making more money, trust yourself, and then go do some other stuff also. So that's like where I was at. But like, we were young. We had one baby on the way, but we didn't have a baby yet. I was 25 back then. Like, we had savings. Like, we had a lot of opportunities. And I was still very uncomfortable with it. But she was the one that was pushing me forward to honestly have a better lifestyle for both of us, for her as well. From like timing, I was just working all the time. It really depends on the per person basis. I can never tell you a dollar value that makes sense for a general statement. And I can never tell you that I felt 100% comfortable when I took the leap. And I'm sure someone out there felt amazing when they went full time. And like, it was exciting when I did, but at the same time, it was like, okay, and it's all gone. I gotta, like, it's now on my shoulders. And I still feel that every day in some capacity. Every decision that I make is on me. And if you don't like that type of thinking and that way of feeling, like, I would say it's never for you to do full-time trading or full-time entrepreneurship in that capacity, because it's the same thing. 9 to 5 offers a level of perceived safety that make people feel comfortable. Yeah, and at the end of the day, you can get fired at any point on a 9 to 5, right? The thing for me that was the most important for the 9 to 5 feeling of safety was healthcare. Healthcare is expensive. It was like one of the benefits that I didn't really realize was as expensive as it was, or as good of a deal as it was when I was working full time. Obviously, like, guaranteed income is great, but like, healthcare was the thing I was most nervous about paying for and all of that, because it just like was not really something that I was used to, and we had a baby on the way and stuff. Nice slap. This is good. I wish that it was a little bit. I guess the retest of 80 is fine. I'll probably be looking for a retest short at value area low 50, 51. Something like this could be very interesting for me. As could that. You worked in healthcare? No. In America, you have to pay for your healthcare. Your health insurance. That's what I'm saying. You have to pay for your health insurance. It's expensive to do that. I run everything through Gusto. Just like a pretty cheap option for healthcare and stuff, or for HR basically. Probably goes and tests VWAP. Traded the untested wick there. We got one more at VWAP. Right here at 60 or so. A little bit more aggressive. 57's VWAP itself. I'm fine with giving it VWAP. Realistically, I feel like prior open looks pretty decent, but I really would like to see like value area low trade again. I don't know if this will happen. I'm gonna have the order here just in case we get like a really nice push all of a sudden, but I'll be watching for a potential exit at 40. Assuming we get the flush, maybe we just push straight out of it, which is kind of looking potential.
How long were you trading before you started trading full-time 4 years ago? Just curious about your journey. If there is a video, I'll go watch it.
I'll answer in a second. There is a video. It's called I quit my job to day trade full-time on my channel. But I think I'd been trading for 3 or 4 years before that. We'll talk about it more in depth in a second. I mean, a pretty heavy looking candle. Little 1 minute doji. We're hanging out at that 40 level. See if we can get the continued slap into value area low. I really like the value area low trade here for the full green to red rotation. I'm trying to be patient for it, but also like be cognizant of base hitting, you know? Nice. All right, I'm out. That's a perfect value area low trade there. Right into about 17 points, I think. Is that what that is? Yeah, 17 points on the Nasdaq. So 17 points across all 20 accounts. That's $6,720 that I just got. So 6,720 on the day. Just being patient, waiting for a trade that I want to take. It's the whole conversation that we've been having the last 45 minutes, you know? Just takes one. It takes one good trade to really have a good day. It takes one trade to have a terrible day, right? But if you can be patient and wait for something that makes sense, like for me, I really was patient to wait to make sure that like, okay, we roll off the 80s. We cracked through VWAP. What makes sense? Like we had a really big move, and I needed to be able to see us rotate off the 80s to know if we were going to be coming back down or if we were going to just V bottom and rip all day. And so like this whole section to me is just confusing. And I'm sorry I didn't take trades to those of you telling me I was missing my trade setups. This is confusing to me. But when it starts to make more sense is when, okay, we reject 80, yesterday's pointing control, we hammer out, we close heavy through VWAP. That to me shows downside movement. So where are downside targets? Value area low on the day because of green to red rotation, value area high to value area low. So then if I know like an area that makes sense to get out, what makes sense to get in? 50 psych level, yesterday's value area low, the untested wick, right? And I took 4 points of drawdown for a 17-point trade. That's how it all gets laid up in my mind, right? And then you throw in Delta as well. Delta was being heavy the whole way down. Sellers were in control of this move. I didn't even see that we were exiting at the 1 standard deviation, but throw that in there. It's just confluence, right? Confluence. A lot of stuff that I want to see all paired up together. And if I don't see a lot of it paired up together and it doesn't make sense in my head, I don't want to take the trade. But if I see a lot of it paired up together, then it's worth the risk because no matter what, whenever I take a trade, I'm going to be taking risk, right? So what is worth the risk? What is worth the exposure to the market? If I'm guaranteed that I'm going to lose a trade, right? Then it's just a matter of time that I'm going to lose the trade. So what trades am I comfortable with taking that I'm okay with losing? Because I've seen it play out enough times. And yes, that was done on my 20, 50K Apex accounts. So that's why it's 17 points on the Nasdaq, but I'm copy trading on Sierra chart across all 20 of my 50K accounts, which is why it's $6,720. All right, now we can see what else is left. I would love another 5-pointer. 5 to 7 points would be amazing. I'm going to be very picky for it, though. I'm going to be picky. I'm not going to trade around VWAP for it, to be honest, because we already kind of traded off of it. Tell us about your biggest loss and how you handled it. I'm not going to, actually. One, I talk about this in the Words of Wisdom podcast, so just go watch that. Honestly, it's worth a watch. You just Google Words of Riz, R-I-Z-D-O-M, PBM, and it'll pop up. And the reason I'm not going to talk about it is because you're talking about, I'm going to explain it. And hopefully this makes sense on why we're not going to focus on it. Trading is a bell curve, right? Bell curve. 95% of your trading happens in here, right? Within the middle of the bell curve. You're asking about the one specific instance in, at this point, tens of thousands of trades, probably hundreds of thousands of trades that I've taken. The one single biggest instance in 100,000 sample size, right? I don't think it has any value at all, actually. I think the biggest thing is what happens on your day to day, right? The average. How do you handle average days, average winners, average losers? Everybody always wants to know biggest winners, biggest losers, because that's like, it's like trading porn in a way. It gets everybody off. But like, that's not really what matters. What matters is the sample size in the middle. What you're going to be doing every day. In fact, if you're having to ask the question about the biggest loser and how you're going to handle it, you're kind of teeing yourself up for failure, because you're asking about the one specific instance in 100,000 sample size that you're trying to prepare for. And it's like, if you think it into existence, I don't know. I'm absolutely not ranting or roasting either. I think it's like, and I'm totally open to pushback here too. I just think it's like, it seems like the wrong thing to focus on. Curious how you do. I'm just curious how you handle your feelings on a bad week. Yeah, bad day, average bad trade. It's all the same. Address what happened, right? You're like, okay, what exactly happened in this trade that made me do what I did? What was I feeling? What was I seeing? Was the setup there and it just didn't work? Or was the setup never there and I took a bad trade and I paid for it, right? Those are two very separate options. Option one of the setup was there, the setup has worked in the past, it just didn't work this time. Okay, you addressed it, you forget about it, you move on. It's just a bad trade. Bad trades happen all the time. Markets don't always move how we think. If it was a setup that never existed and I took a trade, the question then is why, right? Why did I take a trade? Was I not being patient? Was I feeling antsy? Was I feeling the need to make money? Was I thinking that I was seeing something that I wasn't because I was like hyper analyzing a choppy market? And once you address that next question of why, then it's again, forget. You have to learn, right? It's address, acknowledge, learn, maybe is probably the best way to say it. You have to understand what happened, and you have to learn from it, but then you have to forget about it. If you focus on your losing, it's self-fulfilling. If I'm still thinking about my losing day from yesterday, this morning when I go into trade, guess what? I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be a pansy when I'm trading. I'm going to be scared. I'm probably going to be hesitant to take trades that I really should be taking. Probably I'm going to be thinking so much about my P&L that I probably end up losing again. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying forget what happened. I'm just saying you got to forget the day. Like, you got to forget that happened. It's the same thing with big winning days, by the way. Big winning days, you got to be very cognizant of what's going on the next day, because a lot of times we have our ego boost, our chest popped up a little bit, and we start taking trades that we really shouldn't be taking. I'm very happy I got out here, by the way. Nice rip out of it. And we're going into initial balance, which is set. So that's my opinion on it. I think there's probably a ton of different takes on it, but like, address the data. Acknowledge what happened, whether it was just something didn't work or if it was something on you that you should be doing different. Prepare to be different, and then just like move on. Because if you are constantly thinking about it and you're like really diving in and you're like hours deep, you're thinking about it at night, you wake up thinking about it, that's not good for your trading. From my personal experience, historically, I'm just saying, like, whenever I wake up in the morning thinking about a L day before, it typically tees it up for another L day. And whenever I have a big winning day from the day before that I have not like really like acknowledged, addressed, and forgotten about, it honestly screws me up a little bit. A little bit of action up here. I honestly low-key like that short. It's a little counterintuitive because we got liquidity higher, but at this time of day, that type of like candle typically pays. Excuse me. Like, you kind of have to wait for the cheap option, which would be like getting closer to 26 for like a very tight trade. I'm gonna go and just take it, actually. Give it a shot. Nice little topper, stop at the prior high. We're at the time of day where it slows down a little bit. You take these types of trades a little bit more aggressively. I wouldn't want to take that trade at like 8:45 or 9. You know what I mean? A little sketchy at that point in the day, but everything's moving slow enough to where you can kind of give it a shot. Cheap trade, see what happens. Delta's kind of just like a little bit mellow as well. I'm gonna go take that off. 440 there. No drawdown, 5-point trade. I don't think it was any drawdown there. Actually, I don't know. Looks like I would have just gotten filled as well. So overall base hit, very happy with it. Cheap trade, nice reward, cheap trade. What can you, I mean, I got nothing to say about it. I love it. And that brings me to 432 per account. That's $8,640 on the day. And that is me wrapping up the Apex trading accounts for my day. I'm done trading these accounts because I hit my $400 goal. And this is a great rotation. That 1 minute topper is honestly beautiful. I love these types of candles in like the 10, 11 o'clock hours. These types of candles are a little sketchy during like the 8 and 9 o'clock hours, but like come 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, this type of trade happens a lot. And on that note, boys, I'm out of here and we'll see you tomorrow for some Friday vibes. Peace, everybody.